Hey guys, Mike Healy here, and I'm excited to share this training with you. This is some new stuff I wanted to put together based on a great conversation I had with one of our advisors in the field. We had a nice conference call yesterday, and I thought he brought some good points that maybe some of you are aware of or not aware of, but it doesn't hurt to review these again. But I think you're going to get a lot out of this. Also, I do have this geared specifically towards the energy side of this, but understand this exact process is similar to how you will address the waste services we offer as well as the cash discount program. So just, if you follow along here, you're going to see that these all kind of flow together. And in case you don't know who I am, if you're new to the company or whatever, that's a picture of me. That was from the conference we did here in Columbus, Ohio, when we kind of launched a few months ago. We kind of had our first official launch date, along with my founders, my co-founders, Rick Moore and Monty Bertrand. So, these are the, kind of the three amigos that we talk about and you hear on the phone. So that's a picture of me right there. Now, since I'm going to talk a little bit about money in this one, I wanted to put a disclaimer here because, you guys always have to be careful that you're not, projecting incomes or unrealistic expectations of commissions. So commission examples are for training purposes only. Actual commissions will vary. No guarantees of income are implied. So let's talk about the energy side of this first and foremost. Understand that energy with gas and electric is measured in kilowatts. Electricity is measured in kilowatts, and natural gas, is measured in therms, what they call. I'm going to specifically talk just recurrently about the kilowatts in energy to give you an example, okay? So what I've explained in all the years that I've done this type of business in the energy space was that doing this type of business or doing energy is kind of like an adult Easter egg hunt. Not to be goofy about it, but that's really what it is you just never know what's out there, what kind of energy one company's doing. One small business might lead you to a chain of businesses. One small location could, like I said, have multiple locations or related to somebody that has multiple locations. And typically those will open up for you to get your foot in the door with other places. This business does work very well, obviously, if you already have an existing good relationship with the business owners. Now, that's one thing that if you do have that advantage, you're going to be ahead of the game. If you can, if your cousin, owns or works at the factory that's doing the gas, for some refinery, that's a pretty good in right there. And it's a lot easier a lot of times. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you can't build relationships, but one of the easiest ways is to get your foot in the door by bypassing any kind of gatekeeper through your current relationships. Okay. So let me just throw that out there. Now, on our first example here, I wanted to just kind of give you examples. This way you can kind of do the math in your head as to what these would pay out on an annual basis. Okay. Now, understand that and I'm going to point this out here. So as an example, 1,000,000 kilowatts pays out approximately $1,250 to the agent who referred the deal. Now, if they're doing that annually, they're only doing 1,000,000 kilowatts annually. That would be split up through a 12-month period. They could be doing that monthly, and you would earn that income on a monthly basis. Okay, so you can use that math that if you ever get someone's bills, you can kind of estimate, like if you had a goal of making, $2,000 a month or $5,000 or $10,000, whatever it might be, in income, you can kind of see how many kilowatts, as an example, you would have to have on the books to generate that kind of income. Another example, and some of these that I'm referencing are actually deals that I've seen happen. Friends I already have that have done these things, but I'm just going to give you some quick examples. I already showed my disclaimer. 2,000,000 kilowatts would pay obviously double than 1,000,000 kilowatts. I've seen large churches out there. They don't even have to be the mega churches, but these are large facilities. A lot of them have schools in them and so on, that are doing, pretty significant amounts of energy. Here's one, 77.4 million kilowatts is a pretty big residual. I've seen multiple people close hospitals, again, because a lot of times they have relationships with people that are paying the bills. That's actually a pretty substantial income for something like that. Now, you may want to take a moment to pause the video or slow it down or take a screenshot of this. And this may give you a little goal, or maybe you can make a list of some people that run these or part of these organizations and so on. And you can kind of see, the different levels, a lot of times what some of these facilities use as far as volume. Okay. So obviously, you're smart enough to know that, hey, the bigger the facility, probably the more energy they use. So let's move on right now and let's talk about how you're going to get your foot in the door and start to collect the bills and do the process. Okay. Let's talk about the process. Now, quite a few years ago, I developed a question I call the 8-second question, which primarily goes like this. I don't know if I could help you or not, but if you give me a copy of last month's utility bills, I can have them analyzed for free to see if you're being overcharged. Now, the key thing here is when you're talking with someone, a lot of times this works really good, obviously, with somebody with a relationship. It could be an easy 8-second question you could talk to in just passing. You're out there, you went to a pizza place, you have a little bit of a rapport with the owner, and you throw this question out there, okay? Now, I do want to mention this, that I did, for the longest time, I've just said get a copy of last month's utility bills. You do need 3 months worth of past billing to make sure that we can give you an accurate assessment and analysis for this. The other word in here that I think is very good for people to understand is the word free. And the one that businesses definitely do not like is that's being overcharged. Okay, so you can see I thought this question out, and it's been very, very successful for a lot of people to use. Okay, I don't know if I could help you or not, but if you give me a copy of last a few months utility bills, you can have them analyzed for free to see if you're being overcharged. That's really your primary goal to make this work. Is we're not asking you to be energy experts. We're not asking you to learn deregulation by any means, to know rates, to know anything like that. We have a group of people, and which leads me to step 2, that are going to take care of this for you. So if the person said, yeah, that sounds good, the business owner says, yeah, that sounds good, you ultimately just have to gather 3 months worth of back billing so that we can, like I said, give them an accurate assessment. You fill out a simple form, and I'm going to show you where those are in a second. And then you fill out the third step would be to fill out a request for pricing. So as long as we have those in PDF form, all emailed in one simple email, say, hey, this is John. I'm sending this on behalf of XYZ Pizza Company. They have 5 locations, and here's the information. That's really all you have to do. Okay. Now, what happens then is once we've sent that information and you sent that into the request for pricing area, we have professionals, and more importantly, we have a patent pending process, a patent pending portal. This is a digital real-time bidding portal that connects all of our major suppliers. Now, understand that who we're using has contracts with close to 80 suppliers in the United States. That covers everybody, all of the biggest ones, obviously. And, and sometimes it'll fluctuate up and down depending on if, a company acquired another one or so on. But we're looking at a constant basis that we can have real-time bidding happen and have suppliers, energy suppliers, bid against each other to give your client a true non-biased quote to find out what is the best the best scenario for them, the best pricing for them. That's one thing. Now, we can't necessarily guarantee savings, but more importantly, we are guaranteeing a best pricing scenario. And we do offer multiple things, whether it's a 12-month, 24, 36, and some of them can be customized as well, obviously. And we work with your client to make sure they get the best thing for them. Now, let me show you where the forms are real quick. I'm going to have to jump out of here and go to my desktop. And we're going to start here in your back office. If you happen to go in your back office, log in, you click on pricing documents, you're going to see the basic pricing documents you need are right here. First and foremost, we have to have the letter of authorization filled out. It's very, very simple. Most of these documents are just very simple PDFs that you fill out. You got to do it correctly. Make sure you do not fill out areas that should not be filled out. Real important. Letter of representation. This does not necessarily have to be filled out every time. In some states, you do have to. Like I said earlier, you want to have 3 past months billing statements. Fill out the request for pricing. You're going to notice at the very bottom, that's where your information goes in so that our agents at the home office are able to contact you and work with you. And then once that billing comes back, once you get all that, you're going to send it to rfp@avionenergy.com. So it's real, real simple. These forms are also available in the same spot back in the Bidpoint training back office portal that we have created. It's that standalone one we have. And if you're a member with us, you can go in there. And what we have is we've got these all located. You can go in and watch this training video on exactly how to fill the forms out. Very short thing. And obviously, if you click on energy forms, you're going to see you can download them back here as well. Okay, so it's real simple that you can get that taken care of. Now, let's keep going. Oops, almost wrong button. Almost done here. Now, I did have, this is the question that came up, and I wanted to kind of address this. Was this person kind of called somebody on the phone? I think it was somewhat of a cold call, and the person said, "Hey, I don't do business over the phone," and basically hung up on the guy. Now, this leads me to something that I think is real important, and you may have just read that without paying attention to what I'm saying. So let's get that out of the way. But this is an example of what I recommended that this gentleman sent to if he did this again in this process. And here's why I want you to look at this. Maybe write it down, screenshot it, whatever you got to do, because I think it's appropriate, and you're going to see how this works for you. Okay. Now, what I would do is I would make an initial phone call to somebody and say, "Hey, Joe, John, this is Mike. I don't know if I can help you or not, but I know you have a business and so on. Do you mind if I send you an email?" Okay. Now, here's the thing: is why I would say that. Versus trying to, because a lot of times it's like giving a haircut over the phone. It just doesn't work. And your initial excitement, and you want to explain stuff to people. A lot of times you kind of get it gets confusing on the phone, and if you confuse somebody, you typically lose them. So if you follow me here, I think I'm going to save you a lot of grief and heartache, but increase your ability to at least get dialogue going, which is the most important thing. So if you were, as an example, you were to call John up and you asked him this question, this is what the question I would ask John myself. I'd say, "Hey, John, this is Mike Healy. I live up this, I come to your business all the time. I say, I know you're busy and I'm not going to take up any of your time, but do you mind if I send you an email?" That would be the question I would do on my initial phone call. I just want to send you some information. You're like probably the rest of people that don't want spam and so on. And I wanted you to know it's coming. Understand that simple tweak in your process could make the difference between really blowing this thing up and banging your head against the wall. Because I have always found that if I make the initial contact and I make it quick, I make it succinct, that I'm going to just send them a quick email, tell them what it is, and I rush them off the phone. It allows me just to get my foot in the door. This is the only thing I'm trying to do. Now, here's what the email says, and let me cover this, and I'll show you why I wrote it this way. "John, really appreciate you letting me send you this information. Again, I'm thanking them for their time." And here's kind of my catchphrase. "I don't know if I can help you." So this is a play on the 8-second question. I put 93% in there because I want an exact number, which gets someone to pause and think about it. Okay. "I don't know if I can help your business or not, but in most cases, we find 93% of business are being overcharged and don't even know it. Below is a short video explaining how our free service works." And if you go to energybestpricing.com, you're going to see it's about a 5-minute or 4-minute video that Avion put together explaining how we do the bidding on the energy. Now, here's what's real important, okay? If you can take the time to call a handful of people, ask them if you can send them an email, send them an email that's similar to this or exactly like this, and get somebody to hit on that video, you're allowing yourself the ability to work the numbers faster. You're swinging the bat more, and you will get base hits. You will get some hits. Every once in a while you'll hit one out of the park, right? But if you get somebody to watch that video, then you can follow up. So as an example, you wrote this, you're Lisa, you sent this to them. Now, what I typically do when I follow up with somebody is I would ring. Understand that if your number comes up again, the very first time you talk to them, you rushed them off the phone, 99.9% of the time, they'll answer the phone if they see it's your number again, due to the fact you didn't waste their time the first time. You didn't pitch them, you didn't hard sell them, you didn't try to close them. Real important that you understand that. So here's how I would address that. Ring, phone answers. "John, hey, this is Mike Healy again. Oh, hey, John, listen, I know you're busy. Is now a good time?" I always ask that question ahead. As soon as they answer the phone. "Hey, John, it's now a good time. I just got a couple quick questions for you. Follow up on what we talked about. Yeah, because you don't want to make sure you're interrupting dinner or time with the kids or whatever it might be. If they say yes, I say, great. Did you get the email I sent? Yes or no? Real simple. If they said no, I say, okay, well, let me send it to you again. Get a chance to watch that video because it'll be an easier conversation next time we talk if you understand what that 4-minute video is about. And I'm off the phone again. If they said yes, I say, great. Here's the key thing I ask. Hey, John, what did you like best about what you saw? And I always let the prospect, the client, dictate the conversation, the way the rest of this is going to go, because I don't want to be selling him on best pricing if he's just interested in customer service, or whatever it might be. I mean, I try to find out what's in it for him. So I use this email by calling somebody up saying, hey, I don't know if I can help you or not. Can I send you an email? I hang up the phone. I sent him an email, and you can go through 4, 5, 10, 20 people in, an hour or two and call it a day. And then what you do a couple hours, the next day is maybe follow up with these people, follow up with them for the next couple of days and see who watched the video and ask them, say, hey, listen, what's cool about this is there's, it doesn't cost a dime. Most cases we do find people are being overcharged, and, they could say a few things, say, hey, it doesn't cost you anything. And this process, what's nice about this process is it gets your foot in the door, gets dialogue going, allows you to build rapport with these people so that these clients, so they now can, and obviously if you already know them, you're good to go. But I'm just giving you an example of maybe some people you don't know, or you're maybe, semi-warm market. Okay. So if you understand this simple process, that you can talk to a lot more people faster by sending them some initial information right out of the gates without flooding them with info and trying to pitch them on the first time. You take your time to build some rapport, and what you're going to have much, much better success. Okay. So I just wanted to touch on that. I know it's just a fairly short video, but it was a good conversation I had yesterday with Chris, and I thought I'd share some of that with you. Again, thanks for your time. If you have any questions or things you'd like me to cover on some of these videos, feel free to send me an email. You know how to reply back to the ones we send out. I send out on a regular basis from corporate. And maybe I'll do a video on those as well. So, hey, have a great one, and we'll see you at the top. Thanks.